Dan Kennedy's top 3 growth factors. Hi, I'm Brian Pombo. Welcome back to the Orange Office in Grants Pass, Oregon. We're here once again for Brian J. Pombo Live. Now, we're going to be talking about something that Dan Kennedy just recently brought up. And yes, this is the same Dan Kennedy that a few days ago it was announced that he was in hospice and was not thinking that he's going to be living much longer. We discussed that in some earlier videos. You can go back and look at that. I wanted to bring up the latest interview that I've heard with him was done by a gentleman named Clint, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. I've also got the link in the description so you can go check that out. But if you are a business owner or an executive and you are looking to take your business from where it's at to an absolute dream business, I'm going to encourage you to watch some more of my videos, see if we relate. If we do, go to dreambizchat.com. At dreambizchat.com, you can watch the quick little video, 8.5 minutes long. Gives you an idea of what I call the dream business transformation, and that'll tell you whether you'd be a good fit for me or not, and you can just fill out the application and see if you qualify. That's dreambizchat.com, link in the description. Also, as I mentioned, a video link in the description over to Clint Arthur's interview. Now, don't get too thrown off. Clint Arthur is not wearing a shirt, and you're only seeing from the waist up, so it looks like he's sitting there naked talking to Dan Kennedy over the phone. In reality, he mentions later that he's in his swimsuit, and I don't think it was meant to be a video interview. This was meant to be an audio interview that's going to play later on his radio show, and it's just a clip off of this interview as he started recording while he was doing it. But it's worth watching, worth listening to Dan Kennedy's half of it. He's just coming in over the phone. But I wanted to point out one point that he made that I think applies, well, I know applies to you and applies to other people when it comes to businesses. In our latest Off the Grid Biz podcast, episodes, we've been discussing speaking and writing books and how that helps. One of the things that Clint Arthur teaches people how to do public speaking in order to promote whatever they're looking to promote themselves, how to make themselves more of a celebrity, or how he calls it celebritize yourself. I first ran into Clint Arthur a few years back when he wrote 21 Performance Secrets of Donald Trump. And it's not a political book, but this was right when Donald Trump started running for president. And all he did was he took a lot of the performance secrets that he could see exhibited, that Donald Trump exhibited, and he put it out in a book. So regardless of what you think about President Trump, these are lessons that you could learn that obviously eventually led to him becoming president. So it's a great book. Great book by Clint Arthur. That's when I was first introduced to him. I think he did an interview for I Love Marketing. I think that's where I heard about him. And I've been following him ever since. Really great guy. Interesting. The reason why he was interviewing Dan Kennedy is he was supposed to attend this Living Legends of Entrepreneurial Marketing, which is happening at Carnegie Hall in the end of September. You can go find out more about that at livinglegends2019.com. That is Clint's event, so you go check that out. I definitely recommend it. They're going to have Martha Stewart's going to be there. Dan Kennedy was meant to get a Lifetime Achievement Award. Whether he'll be able to make it or not, it's not looking like that's the case. But from what we know, he's still kicking. So hopefully Dan can pull through. The 3 things that he mentions about business growth. It starts with Clint asking him, and it's around 6 minutes in, where he's asking him basically, do you see anything that has a greater impact than speaking when it comes to business growth and in terms of your business? And Dan says, not in terms of his. In terms of his, speaking has been by far the biggest boost to his business. And he does a whole lot of things, but speaking has been a huge piece of that. And he goes through all the reasons why and how you can use speaking to increase your business or whatever deal that you're working with and whatever you're trying to promote. So he says that there's nothing that works better than being on stage and being a walking, talking example of what you're talking, whatever you're discussing, having that real, tangible visibility makes the biggest difference for your business. The second thing he says that other people work on is getting themselves into the media, which is another thing that Clint Arthur teaches, is how to get yourself into media that's already out there. So whether it be news media, whether it be entertainment, all the different forms of media that are out there, how you can insert yourself into that conversation. He says that's another big thing. That's the second one that he recommends. And the third thing is writing and or just pushing content, any form of content, out into the world. Similar to what we're doing right here. Just pushing content out into the world. If you're able to do enough of that, that will also be a huge boost to your business. So these are three things just off the top of his head that he says are some of the biggest expansions in business growth. These are some things, some tools that you could use. So those are three things. We talk about all those things a lot here, and I look to talk more about in the future. And Dan Kennedy is very topical because of his recent announcement of being in hospice. So we hope Dan can pull through, and even if he can't, he's lived one hell of a life, and it's been really great listening to a lot of his old audios and stuff that are out there, and it's great to hear a fresh interview like this. I'm not sure if this is the last interview that he's done, but it's worth going and listening to if you get a chance. Tomorrow, we're going to be discussing another aspect of how you can be able to promote your business. So come back tomorrow. We'll be talking about that then. In the meantime, get out there and let the magic happen.